that way. So before I send Astin a request, I just want to say that Astin is like I've never told her this before, but Astin is one of my favorite people, and I am so thankful that she is joining us today for tea time for Women's History Month. So I'm gonna go ahead and let her on without further ado, and we'll get right on down to the conversation. Astin, I sent you an invite. And let me pull up my question. So just wanted to let you all know this is a conversation. So if you have any questions for me or Astin, ask away. Tap that question button on the Instagram live or chat in the comments. We definitely want to see it. This conversation is for all of us. Astin, I can't see your screen, but I hear you.
Let's see. Oh,
Oh,
that's why.
go to kitchen.
There we
Hey,
go. There we
sunrise.
go. Hi. I'm trying to figure out the right angle to put this at.
I feel you. Take your time.
Yeah.
Everybody, if you're just tuning in, make sure you share this live with people. The more, the merrier. Let's get the word out. And happy Women's History Month. And Ashley, whenever you're ready, you let me know.
I think I am ready. I think
Okay.
there we go. There we go. Cool.
Gorgeous.
I'm not
Yeah, we need
cut
to
off.
put a little bit more of your head.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. I think we're good now.
Awesome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for that great introduction. I'm like over here blushing.
Are you? I was
Yeah, if I was a couple of shades lighter, you'd see it.
Wonderful. Well, I am certainly happy that you accepted to be on today. I am excited to have you and to talk about all the wonderful things that you're up to and that you've been up to. Just to form a background for everybody or any new people that might be tuning in. Tea Time was designed to share the journeys of creative people, and especially my creative friends. I think that, one thing about being a creative is we're so busy in the doing and the doing and the doing that we never really stop to appreciate the journey. We never stop to share the journey. And then 10 years or 20 years after we've been in the journey, somebody's like, oh, I've never heard of this person. Oh, they're overnight success. But we both know that there's no such thing as an overnight success. And I think like in sharing the journey as we're going through it will definitely help to inspire and empower other people that have a purpose and a creative journey and need empowerment and motivation. So that is the purpose of Tea Time. And I know you're going to have lots of wonderful things. I'm going to be asking you questions for me and for everybody.
Good, good.
Okay.
Well, I'm an open book.
That's what I love to hear. Okay, so I'm gonna stop talking for a minute and I'm gonna let you talk about yourself. Tell us who you are in the world, what you do, whatever you want to share for this initial part.
Okay. My name is Astin Hayes, and I guess you could say, a jack of all trades or a Renaissance woman. I'm definitely a true Aquarian. I kind of go with my gut and go with however I feel. So right now I work in the wine and spirits industry for Remy Cointreau, as well as an app developer. So I have an app called Tip Off, which is like taboo, but for you, we like to say it's a word guessing game for the culture. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm big on fitness, so anyone that follows me, they'll probably see me in the mornings at Urban Grind, grinding it out, trying to challenge myself on something else that I said that I was going to do or get done. I'm trying to think of what else. I love to cook, which is why I work out, because I like to cook and eat. Eat more so. Like I said, I'm in wine and spirits, so clearly I like to have a nice cocktail every now and again, which again is why I'm at the gym. And then I grew up, my mom was a flight attendant, so I grew up traveling, international flight attendant for United for like 47 years. So I'm big on travel. And if you don't find me out and about in Chicago somewhere socializing with somebody, I'm probably on a plane somewhere else to go socialize with somebody else in another city. So that's probably it for the most part in a nutshell.
Yes, I love that, and I always joke with people that list all these big things and then say that's it, because that I feel like sometimes we think that we're not doing enough, or
Hmm.
that we're doing so much that it's kind of baseline when you're doing so much for so long that we never really stop to think about, like, oh damn, I do lots of things. So thank you so much for sharing that amazing list. And I'm gonna check in with those people that are watching. Hey to everybody that's tuning in,
Yeah.
share with some more people. We're delighted to have you. If you have any questions or comments for Astin and or me, go ahead and type those in the comment section or in the questions section. So, okay. So what I really resonate with when it comes to you is the fact that you are a jack of all trades / Renaissance woman. I love that term that you use, primarily because I get called jack of all trades a lot, but I think that when I first started to get called that, it didn't have a positive connotation to it. It was like,
Because it was like, man, it would follow behind master of none.
yep,
That's probably how you would take it. Yeah.
yes, or they say, you can't be good at everything.
Hmm.
And so I love that I can look at you as an example of someone else that is also doing lots of things and doing it successfully, might I ask. So
Thank you. Thank
you're
you.
most welcome. Thank you for modeling that for the
You
world.
you
So
as well. You as well. You got to give yourself a pat on the back.
you're right, girl. Thank you.
I feel like that's all creatives. I don't know any creative that just does one thing. That's just comes with the territory.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. We have a comment that says, "Two dope women salute." Thank you
Oh,
so much.
thank you.
Okay, so I also love that you said that you love to eat, because you know I love to eat too. And one thing I do not love to do is exercise, but I have started to do that consistently in the past year. I made my 1 year mark of consistent exercising on the 13th,
Yay!
because I had a pandemic belly and it was not cute. I was like, no, thank you. We got to get this together before the pandemic over, and I got a pandemic belly. So, let's start here. I want to know, since you do so much, how do you manage it all? What are your systems?
Oh, I'm a list person all day
Yes,
long. Like, if I did not have a list and I did not have my Google Calendar, I will be lost. So if it's a day that I left my phone behind, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and get it, because there's no way I'd be able to function without it. Like, literally hour by hour is everything that I have to do is scheduled out there. So, fortunately, I can get to it through my Google Mail, so that helps. But yeah, it's all lists. Like, everything is curated from day to day, sometimes from week to week, depending on what it is. And birthdays, because I know people are like, you always post everybody's birthday,
yes,
on IG. How do you remember that? Part of that is, Facebook, and then, me putting it into my calendar after I see it on Facebook. So it's a combination of things, but it's mainly list and a calendar.
I love that. Have you always been that way?
Not always. I don't know. I wasn't always this busy. But I probably get it from my mother. Like, my mom, like you said, she's a flight attendant, but a single parent too. So I'm sure she had everything curated for us. And I remember her with her little date book that she had, and it was as big as a Bible. So I'm pretty sure she had the same thing going on. It was just all written down, and but it was a little chocolate cover thing. She would zip it up and then have all these papers and addresses and things flying out. And yeah, it's probably the same thing, except now I can compact it in a nice, cell phone or on my computer.
Yes, praise God for technology. Woohoo, when it works.
Yes, exactly,
Let me also knock
exactly.
on wood. I've been having tech issues since Friday. So
Oh no,
so with that being said, if anything happens to this IG live, I'll be right back.
all good.
So okay, so I am very big on the calendar. I put rest times on there, break times, and when it's like busy days, like show days, I'm definitely like, eat, sit down,
Mhm.
rest. put this on, put this makeup on. And it's so weird to have that go down to the minute, and all of my Google speakers are going off, reminding me of random things throughout a show day. So yeah, the calendars, the electronic system, the post-its, those things are so important to managing the day to day, and to make sure you don't get double booked. Have you ever been like had like a scheduling conflict or double booked yourself and didn't realize it until like it was time to go?
It still happens all the time. Like, what I'll bump something right in between, and then maybe don't give myself travel time. So at that point, I have to feel like that. I pretty much kind of what we doing today. Like, I called you today. Like, I might have to cut this short because so things like that pop up all the time. Just because that's things pop up.
Yeah.
But I think once again it goes back to me being Aquarius. I'm like very flexible and kind of fluid and swift with the wind. So I'm all kind of like, okay, I can work it out. We can figure it out. We're going to move this here. We're just going to be late to this, or we'll show up early in hopes that this ends. So, yeah, like you said, knock on wood, I kind of just function with that. But
Yeah. I love
yeah,
that.
it happens all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you got some key words here too. You said fluid and flexible and going with the flow, and those are like so very important. Just in the creative journey in general, like there will always be things that show up, and it's just a matter of just flowing and rolling with it. Whenever it comes, so that's super amazing. And
Yeah.
once again, if anybody has any questions for Astin as you are thinking about and curating your creative journey, or just whatever you have to manage in your life, go ahead and check in and comment and ask us questions about how those things get managed. So you mentioned sometimes you forget travel time, or you have to bump something in between, and you do schedule everything. But do you find yourself able to keep your self-care schedule?
Oh, absolutely. I'm usually the one that's telling other people to make sure that they do their self-care. So
Yes.
yeah, I definitely have my massage therapist I go to once a month. Les, hey, what's up? So he's usually always on me, like, make your appointment now.
Nice.
Even though a lot of times I have to move it around because something comes up, and we talk about scheduling. Um, but yeah, that's something. My travel is my self-care. Like, to me, that's self-care for me. So that's traveling. I'm trying to think of what else I do outside of that. A lot of times during the day, my job requires me to be in the car a lot. So, listening to certain music, or I use that time to catch up with friends. Like, if I know I can't do it any other time, if I'm driving, I'm like, okay, I haven't talked to this person in a while. Let me use this time to catch up. So, car time is a lot of self-care
Yeah.
time for me, because, or I can just turn the music off and it be silent and I just drive. I like to drive. So
Yeah.
that's not a problem. But, yeah, it's just you just have to find little things throughout the day to, give you self-care. So I find something in the day. Of course, my working out is my self-care. So I never miss that, because
Mm-hmm.
it just makes the day go better for
Yeah.
me. And then, prayer and meditation, putting that in and clearing your mind before the day starts, or when the day ends, because usually my mind is like this. So to
Mm-hmm.
calm everything down and sleep better.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm a bath time person too. I love baths. So I will take a bath and relax, and that's my meditation time. So it's a whole bunch of things. You just got to find what works for you and
Yeah.
figure out a way to, squeeze it in the day.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you mentioned the little things that are self-care throughout the day, because I think that people that don't practice or have not yet really started to grasp the reasonings or the idea behind self-care. I think that it's kind of like there's no time for self-care, but there's little things that we do every day, like just eating without using our phones, or like you said,
Hmm.
driving in your car, music and all that stuff. So the very small things are also self-care. And then there's the travel, which is like, for me also, I love travel as self-care. It's like the grand scale self-care. So there's levels
It
to
is. It
self-care,
is.
for
And
sure.
I know for me it's probably easier. I am single with no kids, so that makes probably easier. So I'm sure somebody with kids is like, oh, she can easily say that because she got all the time in the world, but she's only focused on herself. But even my friends with kids, they find little ways that they have to take time, whether it's, unfortunately having to get up an hour earlier so they have that time to have their morning coffee, or just some silence before the kids wake up, or whatever it might be. But you just have to figure out where you can fit those things in. Or I'm good, I'm a really good TT or auntie. I'm one of those people that if I do have a hole in my day or something, I'll call up one of my friends and say, hey, I'll take the kids for like 2 hours so that they can just go do something. So I mean, because I know my mother was a single parent, and I know it's important. The village helps raise the child at that point, so you have to, I'm part of the village now. So
I love that. That's so sweet. I just want to pick
I try, I can't do it all the time, but I try to do it when I can,
Yeah.
or if they call. So
Yes, I love that. Let me tune in and see. Let's see. I want to give a shout out to Carmen. What's up, Carmen Jones? She is the co-host of Tea Time with Lynn and Carmen. It is thank you so much for joining everybody. A little bit of housekeeping. Carmen will be with us on March 31st, and we'll be talking about some mental health things. So make sure you tune in, and y'all just send Carmen some love in the comments. Laura Ills, he said he relates, and he was talking about when you were talking about the self-care in your car and the driving. Now, Laura Ills, he's one of my creative friends who was also a co-host last year. I'm like last year. And he talked about how he does these drives and takes photographs of these really wonderful places in Illinois. So I know. Great pictures too. So we've got a lot of people. Hey, what's up to everybody? And guess what? I can't read your handles. They got a lot of letters in them for being Auntie Fashion. So I'm gonna just do one big old hey to everybody, and thank you so much for joining. Okay, so Astin, you talked about well, I was going to ask you how you maintain your relationships, and you touched on that a little bit, which was calling and spending time with friends and their kids and having phone calls and stuff like that. But like, first of all, the things that you do with events and with the Remy brand and all the things, it requires a certain level of maintaining relationships, but also maintaining a lot of relationships when you're dealing with that on many levels. So how do you in the birthday things too? I think that's a really good way that you keep relationships and stuff. But is there like a particular way that you maintain it? Like, what is your trying to think of the word. What is your like personal like motto or standard when it comes to maintaining relationships?
I don't have one. I think it's just the fact that I am an extrovert, so I get energy from people. So I like being around people and talking.
Yeah.
I probably definitely get it from my grandmother. I always tell people my grandmother would talk to a tree if it could talk back. So I will talk to anybody, strangers in a grocery store, or whatever. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Just me, treating people like I would want to be treated, and getting energy off of people. And I always just wanted to see people happy and celebrate people, whether it's new jobs or birthdays, or, I'll find any reason to celebrate somebody. I don't really care what it is. So, especially after the year we've been through, we've lost a lot of people and been through a lot of things, and people have PTSD, and, we've gone years without seeing some people. So, it's even more important in the times that we live in to celebrate each other and to, make those connections and let people know that you value them.
Yes. I really love when like the friends of my co-hosts tune in because they say extra things that you might not have thought about. So Machete said authenticity is asset strength and relationship building. I love that.
Thank you, Mac.
Yes, thank you for that contribution. And I agree. Okay, Astin, so you listed out a lot of things in your that you do. How I want you to walk us through like a general timeline of how those things came about.
Okay. Okay, so let me see. Tip off came about really in 2006 when I graduated from college. I made a card game by hand, cut it out, and did all of that other stuff, and kind of just sat on it for a while. It was basically just a card game for fun. I wasn't making it for business or to do anything with, but I kept getting a lot of people borrowing it or, wanting to play it when they would come over my mother's house at that time. And then once I moved out my house, and so I had this just one little bag of cards that was making its way around the city and the country at that time. And then finally, apps came out like maybe a few years after that, probably about 5 years after that, apps started being the thing. And a friend of mine's father was like, you should make your card game into an app. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a great idea, but I have zero idea on how to make apps. Then a couple years went by and ran into my now business partner who had made 3 apps prior to that. And I was like, what? You a Black woman to make apps? Like, you actually made this app? And I was astounded. And I said, I have an idea, project that I want to work on. And if you will help me with this, like, I appreciate it. If you don't, I'll figure it out. But I'd appreciate if we could sit down and talk about it. And she loved the idea. And here we are. We started that, 2016. And here we are, 2022.
Woo.
So, just trying to grow the brand and add things to the app and, some other things that we can't talk about right now that are on the horizon. So hopefully you guys will, knock on wood, some big things coming. As far as Remy goes, I started off in radio, not took a break from that, but got let go from the radio in 2012. And started my own marketing firm for like 2.5 years and got Remy as a client at first and did a radio project for them for about 4 months. And then that project was over. And then a couple months went down the line and somebody from the company came back to me and said, hey, I'm leaving the company, but I think you'd be great at my job. And I was like, I don't do sales. Like, that's not my thing. I'm a marketer. And they were like, no, you just know so many people and you're good at talking to people and relationships and things like that. I think you would just, once you get the sales part of it and the numbers and everything else will fall into place. And so I said, I'll try. Let's see. Well, I'll have nothing to lose. Like, I was working for myself at the time. So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And that was 2015 and, still here. So what else did I mention? So I mentioned that. And then everything else that falls in between with tip off and just ideas I come up with. Like I said, I'm fluid and flexible. I just come up with crazy ideas and I'm like, why not? And most of them don't even have anything to do with what I do for a living on the app or the wine and spirit side, but I like community. So I do, just community. Like we're getting ready to do a brunch that does have to do with tip off, but it was just kind of an idea I came up with for Women's History Month with some other female game creators. And so kind of last minute, I was like, I think we should put this together and just celebrate each other and invite, others to come out and play our games. And, and they were like, yeah, we love the idea. Let's do it. So yeah, let's do it. So just things like that, like the tip off game nights and just ideas like McKenday's on here. He knows like we both just come up with crazy ideas and, we're like, why not? Let's just do it.
So I realized, did I say his name wrong?
No, you said it right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, McKenday. Yeah, his real name is McKenday.
Okay,
but yeah,
McKenday.
No, you were right on it. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm big on names. That's why I'm like, I don't want to call nobody by the wrong name because I feel like when we say people's names correctly, like that's our first point of like relationship building, and it's the way that we honor people. So I definitely want to get people's name right. So we got a couple comments that I'm gonna tap in. We got some hey from Hannah, please. Laura Ill said they saw your greatness with Remy. Astin is everything. I agree. We have tip off is our favorite thing to play while we wait on food. People even download it watching us play. That's amazing.
I love it. Thank you.
I love that. Astin has always been so sweet. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, we need to play tip off for money at brunch.
I actually like that idea.
Yes, I like that. Definitely the most creative. Yes. And hi, Sissy. All right.
That's my sister. Hi, sissy.
Aw, so sweet. I'm just
But
buzzing.
yeah, like Tahani, I went to high school with Tahani.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, that's honey.
So
Okay.
Honey, please, it's Tahani. So I'm sorry, I'm like telling everybody's real government names. I'm sorry, y'all.
That's all right. That's all right. You get an auntie pass. That's what aunties do. Okay, so I really want to know about fear. Do you ever experience fear, and how do you overcome it?
Ooh, yes, I do. It's funny that you said that because I just started reading Will Smith's book, and the first chapter is about fear.
Okay.
And he talks about how fearful of a child he was, and it was crazy because I was the same way as a kid. I did not do Santa Claus. I didn't do any of those dress up characters or anything like that. Like, no, I'm good with that. I want to say I was afraid of the dark per se, but I was just a scary kid. And I'm like so opposite now. I didn't do roller coasters as a teenager or anything. I was the one that would like hold people's bags at amusement parks and things. It's like now you can get me on any ride. I'll jump out of planes. Like I have jumped out of planes. I'll do anything. And I think it was just at some point I got to the point of like what is that fear? Like and why are you afraid of it?
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of it's unknown. You just don't, or if you don't like the feeling the feeling of where it takes you, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't like snakes. I can say that I'm not as afraid of them as I was. I can be in a room. I've touched one, but it used to be that I couldn't even be in a room with snakes at one point. I'm trying to think of what else I'm afraid of. Most animals I'm not afraid of. Now, obviously, if you trap me in a room with a lion or something like that, there's some fear is going to come out there. I can't say I'm like totally fearless, but it's some things that, in the past I would have been like totally like, no, absolutely, I'm never doing that. But like now somebody's like, oh, let's go bungee jumping. I might say, yeah, why not? Let's go bungee jumping,
Wow. So,
Someone said snakes are terrifying. They are. And then like snakes, I mean, we always already know from the Bible. I mean, the snake came out of the Bible, so they're not to be trusted.
yes.
Snakes are not to be trusted.
So since you say you were like the total opposite of who you were as a child, is there anything now that you like absolutely will not do, like that you will say no to, and nobody better try to convince you either?
Something that I absolutely would not do. I don't know because I like really wanted to be. What's the show where you go? I like binge watched it years ago where they take people around the world and you do all these like crazy things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
It's not
about?
Amazing Race. It's like
Amazing Race.
oh,
No.
okay.
And so I wanted to do Amazing Race like a couple years ago. I was like, oh my God, like I would be fantastic on Amazing Race.
Yes.
Because it's pretty much very few things I would say absolutely not to. I'm trying to think of what that would be. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to think about it longer.
Okay. Come
But
back to me when you
yeah.
think about it. It's also funny that you mentioned the dress up thing and being afraid of like dressing up and stuff when you were
Mhm.
younger, because now you're like the costume person. Like these costumes that you come up with are magnificent.
Okay.
Tell us more about the costume stuff.
The Halloween. So yeah,
Yeah.
Halloween is my favorite, absolute favorite holiday. I'm not really even sure when that exactly happened either.
Wow.
It's just once again creativity. So my mom, it probably is because my mom makes all of my costumes. Like ever since I've been a kid, she's a great seamstress, and so plays, any events at school or anything that we needed, like my mom was always hand making my costumes. On she has a pattern she can find
Mm-hmm.
at Joanne Fabric, she can make it. So I come up with these crazy ideas like sometime months even before Halloween. Like my brother and I already know what our Halloween costume is for 2022.
What? It is
Yeah.
March.
I know it's March and it may change, but at least I have a foundation of what it is. I texted him and I was like, what do you think about this or this? And he was like, no, not this one. We're going to do this. But yeah, I'll tell my mom and I'll say, okay, well, I want to do this. So what do you need me to buy, or what do I need to find to bring this to life?
Yeah.
Um, the one thing she didn't help me with this year, which was a last minute costume, I think I thought about it 2 days before, was Future. Like Future wasn't even on my mind. It was just like a last minute thing. And I happened to find, I was running around like that night. I was supposed to go to a party looking for like a mustache, and I couldn't find one. I was mad, and I was like, "How I cannot pull this off without a mustache. I'm gonna have to have a mustache." And so I came up with it last minute, like looking on Google about how to like create a mustache at home. And somebody was like, use mascara. So that's mascara. I've used light mascara on it.
Okay.
And it came together. And once I posted the picture, it got like, I don't even know how many people like that, but it was super last minute. And my brother told me not to do it at first, but I was like, I have nothing to lose. Like, I'm gonna pull it together anyway. But yeah, it ended up being hilarious. I just wish Future could see it though, because I think he would think it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. Now, on average, I feel like you at least do 2 costumes a year. It might be 3.
2 to 3.
2 to 3.
2 to 3. And even McKenday is saying that I got mad at him one year because we were supposed to have a duo costume,
yes.
And he didn't come dressed correctly. I was supposed to be Nola Darling, and he was supposed to be Dad, I can't think of the name of
Matt, whatchamacallit? I remember you posted about that. Whatchamacallit? Mars.
Mars. He was supposed to be Mars, yes.
What?
And didn't come as Mars. I forgot who else he dressed up, and I was like, McKenday, like, what? I was like, people won't even know who I am.
Right. Why did you do that, McKenday? Like, that would have been perfect.
He forgot, or I think he didn't. I think the outfit didn't come in enough time, or something along those lines. I don't remember. But, yeah.
You got a couple comments here. We have that you are the queen of Halloween. And the Halloween queen. Laura Ill said, growth will make you do a complete 180. It will have you seeing yourself in a new light for sure. Glad to hear how you conquered your fears. McKenday said he wore it the next day.
He did. And I was like, it's too late now.
That is hilarious. Well, I am looking forward to seeing what your Halloween costumes are for 2022. So you mentioned the idea nothing to lose, or that you said nothing to lose. I found myself saying that a lot recently in the past maybe 6 months or so. I'm not sure if you know, but I got laid off my job in 2020 as a result of the pandemic. And so I have just been working out all my creative ideas, like taking time to flesh out the things. And Tea Time with Lynn is something that was born out of my creative ideas and figuring out how do I, continue to be a presence in the creative community, but also highlight those creative people that I know too. So all that to say, I've just been like, as I have been having thoughts of fear and self-doubt around things, of just that overall, like, oh my God, can I do this thing? It's like, well, I got nothing to lose, because what's going to happen? So I don't know if you carry that with you with everything you do, and I have a feeling that you probably do, but I just wanted to highlight that was something that resonated with me in your share just now.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask about the teams that you might have around your projects. So since you do several things, and even like your birthday parties and the various events that you do, how do you build team? Do you have a team? Do you need a team?
I would love to have a team. I don't really have a team. I guess organically, someone that would be on my team would be Visionay, because she's definitely a creative like me, and we just sit and have conversations. So like now the thing is, every Wednesday we do something called office hours, where we just move around the city to different cafes and restaurants. And then whoever wants to come. It doesn't cost any money. It doesn't cost the place that we're doing it any money. They don't have to do anything. They just have to be open, do what they normally do. and have Wi-Fi code. So we started doing that because, a couple people had mentioned to me that they were tired of working at home. People that weren't used to being remote prior to COVID. Those that have not gone back to work were like, yeah, the walls are like closing in on me, and I'm just, tired of being at home.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, well, why maybe we just do this once a week thing to get people out of the house and, maybe at a different part of the city or try a different cafe. So that just came out of, we don't get anything out of it. There's no money that comes from it. It's just, like I said, a sense of community. As far as tip off, I do have a team for that. And then Remy, it's a corporation, so I have my local work team that works here. We have probably about 7 of us that are local here, which is more than most of the markets that are here. There's some people that work on an island that are on the sales team that they're the only person in that state, and that's it. So I'm lucky to actually have a team of people here so that everything does not, fall on me or them. If they need help, then I can be there to help them. So
yeah,
it depends on what the project is and what space, who is pulled in. And then, sometimes it's just collaborative efforts with people, things like maybe Calvin, like I know you did the third Thursdays. So it might be just reaching out to him and we collaborate on something like that. So
yeah,
I like collabos. I think they're great.
yeah.
Just like music.
I absolutely agree. I feel like a lot of times throughout my journey, I've had just challenges trying to acquire a team. Like, yes, I love when things happen organically, but what happens when they don't and you need to do like 25 things, but you only have like a short amount of time? Like, how do you maneuver, or if you've had situations like that, how do you maneuver things like that? Like, how do you get it done?
What not a lot of time?
Not a lot of time and too much things to do. How do you just accomplish things?
It's a priority. So even with the lists I told you about, lists of things that I have to do, I usually try to prioritize it with what has to be done at the top versus what could kind of fall off to the next day at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then I have some things that have fallen off for weeks, like, they're good intentions of things that something I need to do, and it just becomes this long drawn out project.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to the point where I usually don't put anything more than 8 items on my to-do list today, and I just haphazardly picked that number. That's my line number. So I'm like 9 seems, I was like 8 seems like a number that 2 things are like pressing and 2 things are like they have to get done today, but you can kind of ease back on it, and 2 are like if they don't get done, it's not bad, but they need to at least probably get done the next day. And then the 2 at the bottom are just, like I said, they kind of just can keep rolling for weeks if that's the case. So that's kind of how I group it together. But it just happened to work that way.
Wonderful. You reminded me that we didn't shout out our sorority. Shout out to Delta Sigma Theta. So let's see. I know that we are about maybe 10-15 minutes out. I don't know if you still have to leave.
Probably about 5 minutes. I probably got a good 5 minutes.
Okay, cool. We got 5 minutes. Now, I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, what is some advice or encouragement that you would give to your younger self?
Oh man, I would definitely. One thing I've been thinking about now is I've always been a jack of all trades, even when I was younger. And so my mom didn't really push this on me, but I'd probably be more fiscally responsible at an earlier age.
Yeah.
It was just, I guess you kind of think like, oh, when I get older, I'll do that. When I get older, I'll do that. When I get older, I'll do it. And then, you look over and you're like, oh, I am older and I could have, saved this much money or done this with this amount of money. And so I have probably been working since I was 13, at least 13, maybe even 12 when I was younger, just doing odd jobs. Like I would do what was it? My mom owned a dance studio, so I would help with that. I was making flyers for her early on. And one thing I wish I would have done then is actually take some classes so
Yup.
that I would have been trained by now to be able to do that. You know, people that can make flyers on the fly like that can make really quick money for
Yeah.
parties or whatever it is or invitations. And so I'm like, oh, that would have come in handy had
Mm-hmm.
I stuck with that. Now for Canva, I can go and pull one together real quick for me, but
Yes.
I wouldn't ever charge anybody to do one.
Right.
Um, Another thing, I used to do pedicures when I was younger. I was called a pedicure princess. Now, mind you, I shouldn't have been doing pedicures because I did not have any kind of license. But I was racking in money,
Yes.
like from like 12 to 14, 15 years old, going to people's houses and giving them pedicures.
I love it.
And my mom would take me around, and I had my little foot bath and all the things from Sally Beauty Supply, and was giving people paraffin treatments. I mean, it was like a real deal. It wasn't no like little chintzy thing. It
Yes.
was real deal. And I'm always like, man, I should have gone before I went away to school. I should have gone to beauty school or cosmetology school and gotten a license. And I went to school in Miami. I was like, I could have been racking up money doing,
Yeah.
pedicures so it's just stuff like that, like the way the hustle mode I was in then, just how I could have applied it better to be in a better space now.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. So before we move on to the last and final question, I want to give you the opportunity to promote yourself, whatever things that you want people to know about you and to follow you. So go ahead.
okay, so follow Tip Off Game and download Tip Off Game. Play it with your family and friends. You do not have to be physically with anybody. You know, we're still sort of kind of in this COVID mode. I don't really know what kind of mode we're in now, but you can play it on the app with anybody anywhere. So we have video and audio that's built into the app now, so you can play up to 8 people in a game room at a time. I'm trying to think what else. Drink Remy Martin. Drink
Mm-hmm.
responsibly. Drink responsibly. So I'm trying to think of what else we have. Oh, the brunch. So we got a Black Girl Magic brunch on the 27th of this month at the Woodlawn. It's from noon to 3. Unlimited mimosas, all brunch foods. We'll be playing games, having a good time, prizing, all that other good stuff. So you can go to eventnoir.com and we should be listed there to find us. I'm trying to think of what else I have going on. I think that's the most like pressing thing now, but
Okay.
definitely download Tip Off, come to the brunch if you're in town.
Wonderful. So everybody, you have your to-do list. Follow all those things and support where you can. And also, if you can't support, share with some people who can. That is how we keep the magic going as creatives. Astin, I am so thankful that you joined.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. This was quite a treat for my very first tea time of 2022 and Women's
Yay.
History Month. So I honor you and I appreciate you and I acknowledge you for being dope and amazing.
Thank you. And look, this is perfect because I was the first in 22 for Delta, founders and all that other good stuff. So look, all of that. I'm like a numerical person. I believe that
Me
like
too.
everything happens for a reason.
Yes, I'm a 7, so I was like, oh, she's in the beginnings. I'm completion. Like,
Yay.
so before we close this out, tell us all what makes you feel sexy.
Ooh, what makes me feel sexy? Oh man, I literally after I finish working out usually does. That's like the sexiest I feel. Even if I'm like sweaty and all that other stuff, it's just kind of like, okay, I put in the work today. Like I know my body is better for it. Yeah, I feel like I could take on the world and like lift a car when I leave the gym. So
Yes,
I guess that makes me feel sexy lifting cars. I don't know.
I
So
love that. And I forgot to have everybody else chime in. Guys, forgive me, or people forgive me, but if you tell us what makes you feel sexy, and let me see, I'm gonna share. What makes me feel sexy is when I feel soft and vulnerable, like when I can just let my guard down and let other people just do things and help me and show up for me. That's what makes me feel sexy.
Maya, you laughing at me talking
Yeah,
about what's
you
in
laughing at
the
me. Right, what's the card? Well,
card?
thank you everybody for joining for tea time. Make sure you follow all the things, and we will see you. Well, my next co-host and I will see you soon. Thank you, Astin. Enjoy the rest of your week and your day.
You too. You too. Thank you.
Bye.